Here we go. Hi, everyone. I'm Julie.
I'm Dave.
And we're Chefs of the Future, cooking school that comes to you. That's been our slogan since 2007, and now it means even more because we're in your kitchen, and you're in ours.
So it's more true than ever.
So it's great. I hope, I don't know, I can't see everybody, but I know I've done adult programs before at Hillside, and I know you're a great bunch, so we'll get right into this.
Well, we just like to always open with, from our kitchen to your kitchen, with love and creativity. We love doing this, and we love having you here. So, go ahead.
All righty. So tonight's class, Thrill of the Grill. And we are going to make 2 different marinades. We're going to make some macaroni salad and some grilled vegetables.
Grilled steak.
Yeah, we have a few proteins, and if you only have one protein, or that's okay. But the marinades will show you could use them on any protein. So you could use it on, the Italian marinade on chicken. You could use it on steak. The Asian, same thing.
Yes, they're very versatile. You can use them on any protein. And the Italian one in particular, you can use that on grilled vegetables as well. You just set some of the dressing aside. We'll explain that as we go forward.
Right. So, okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is David is going to show you how to get your grill ready.
So for those of you who are actually following on a grill, I'm going to bring you over to the grill and show you what we're going to do. We're going to light our grill. We're going to get it very, very hot because we want to season the grill. Real quickly, seasoning, it's just a rag with oil on it, saturated rag with oil that you're not going to use anywhere else for anything else but the grill. And when that grill is nice and hot, maybe 5 minutes after you light it, you can go back and forth on the grids. Back and forth, like left to right, right to left.
And what kind of oil do you use?
I like using olive oil. I mean, it has a low burning temperature, but it seasons the grill nicely. You can use any oil. The only oil I do not recommend using to season your grill, for 2 reasons, is sesame oil. Sesame oil has a distinct flavor, and it gets into everything, even after it's cooked off. It lingers.
Canola,
vegetable, olive oil, saffron, yep, even a hazelnut. But I stay away from the sesame. Don't use the sesame.
Okay. So I'm going to pin the grill over there.
We don't like this grill.
All right. Videos now. There you go.
Hey guys, so here I'm at the grill. I'm just lighting the grill, get it started. I'm going to close the lid. And incidentally, when you're barbecuing, every time you open the lid after you've had the heat built up and you're cooking and grilling and storing, you lose about 25% of your heat. So you try not to open the grill too often.
While he's lighting the grill, I'm going to start to get ready the corn on the cob, because believe it or not, corn on the cob takes at least half an hour.
Yeah, out of all these items that we're going to grill today, on the grill, the corn on the cob wrapped in the foil with the infused garlic oil and rosemary, which we're going to use, yum. It takes the longest, believe it or not. Everything else is pretty much between 5 to 10 minutes tops. Corn, about a solid half hour. Do we need to pin this back, or can it stay the way it is?
Are you going to work over there?
No, I'm coming back to help you.
Great. So I'm going to pin it back to us. Okay. I love technology.
Here we go.
We're back. All right, here's the corn.
And what we're going to do is with the corn, we happen to have this roasted garlic oil and rosemary oil that we made in a couple of classes ago. That goes perfect. But you don't have to use this. You can use the oil we discussed. You can use fresh herbs. And you want to season it, and you want to put flavor in there, because this is going to cook 2 ways. It's going to steam in a foil pouch, and then it's going to roast when it reaches a certain point. Very liberal with your oil, especially if it's seasoned flavored oil.
Okay.
And incidentally, these infused oils can last a long time in the refrigerator. The shelf life is awesome, like 3 weeks to a month.
they'll solidify, but then you just take it out a little ahead of time. That's all you have to do.
Correct.
I'm going to put some roasted garlic on this.
That's another thing we keep on hand, roasted garlic.
Roasted, I don't know if you can see
I don't know if
that.
you
I'll
see
put it, we have a couple of views, so that's our roasted garlic. And when you put it on, you just press on it and it smears on.
That's
very technical.
That's a technical kitchen word, schmear.
Schmear.
Look it up and enjoy cooking.
A schmear. Well,
we have fresh herbs, so I'm going to use some rosemary too. I'm going to double up on our rosemary.
And I'm going to put just a little bit of butter.
Excellent. A little bit of salt.
Just a pinch of salt.
I'm going to skip the black pepper because this is personal preference. Whatever you like, whatever flavor profile you like. I'm not big on black pepper. So
if you like it hot, you could put
cayenne pepper on here. You can put a little Tabasco sauce too, if you like hot spicy.
So we just wrap it up, make sure it's sealed. And then David is going to put these on the grill.
So now, if you're following me on a grill, the first thing that's going to go on right now, actually, you caught me. Before the corn goes on, we're going to season that grill. So follow me back over to the grill, and I'll show you real quick how to season it. Okay, so if you can see, this is my little container with my olive oil, my saturated rag with oil. My grill is nice and hot. We're almost at 400 degrees. It doesn't take long with that lid down. So I'm just going to go back and forth across the grill. And all you're doing is just, it's called seasoning, but basically you're lubricating the grill. And it's going to smoke up on you. It might even flame up a little bit. Don't get concerned. It's going to burn off. It's not a big deal. You do this after every barbecue or prior before you cook at every barbecue. You'll have a nice seasoned grill, and it won't be so hard to clean every time. That's one of the tricks of the kitchen. The outdoor kitchen, that is. All right. I'm going to pop that corn on now. Get a seasoned grill. And when I'm working on a grill, I like to work organized because it makes things a lot easier when it's time for the food items to come off. I kind of work left to right like you're reading a book. And one section would be the chicken, one section would be steak, one section the corn, one section the vegetables. It makes things so much easier. Corn's going to go all the way over to the right side.
And you keep track of the timing of it too, right?
Well, exactly. It's rotating of food items, which cooks longer, what takes longer, what doesn't.
Great.
All right, we're going to close that lid. And we're going to set it on medium. And I'm going to let that corn pouch do its trick. I'm going to come back and join Julie.
All right, here we are. Just had to hit that button on the... I don't know how to get around that. All right, so we're going to start making our marinades. And a marinade, you want to explain a marinade? Basically, what's...
Yeah, there's two parts to the marinade that you have to have. You have to have your oil, and you have to have your acidity, which could be anything from vinegar to fresh lemon lime juice to canned pineapple juice to orange juice. Wine, white wine, red wine, anything that has an acid content to it, because the marinade, in a way, is like pre-cooking your foods. It's it's actually pre-cooking your food before you actually cook it.
All right, so we're going to do two tonight. We're going to do an Italian and a Asian. So since a lot of the things that go into both of them are the same, we're going to be working on both of them at the same time. All right, so let's start with, what are we going to start with?
Before you start, a question came in on the chat.
Sure.
They wanted to know if olive oil, if that's the only thing you put on the grill with the cloth, if it was just olive oil.
Yeah, I used olive oil in this case, but if you don't have olive oil, you can use a different oil.
But there was nothing else. There was no salt,
Nope, straight olive oil.
Just straight olive oil. Mm-hmm.
That throws some people off. That throws some people off because when you hear the phrase "season your grill," people, I would think it too. Well, season it with what? Salt and pepper? Mm-hmm. No, it's actually just lubricating the grills.
And that's what you could do to a good
wok too.
Good wok or a good cast iron pan.
Cast iron, definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Good question. All right, so let's start with our oils.
And we use my infamous roasted garlic oil.
And the Italian one, absolutely. So it goes equal parts of oil to acid. And
You want to switch?
sure, let me get out some.
How do you feel about using white balsamic vinegar?
Yes, I just bought white balsamic vinegar today.
Now again, we're making an Italian marinade the way we like to make it, but you don't have to use white balsamic vinegar. You can use regular balsamic vinegar. You don't have to use balsamic vinegar at all. You can use red wine vinegar. It's what you like.
So, you know, if you're going to marinate chicken and you use regular balsamic, it's going to pick up that brown color.
Yes.
So that's why I like to use the white balsamic when I'm marinating chicken. And did you get enough oil? And
yeah, because we only want to coat the protein, in this case the chicken.
okay, so now we're going to get the olive oil and a little bit of sesame oil in here. This is going to be the Asian
one.
Now the sesame oil, it's only a tiny little bit. That looks good.
Yeah, as I said before, sesame oil, it goes a long way, and it dominates whatever. If you have too much of it in your recipe, it dominates all of the flavors. All you'll taste is the sesame oil. So you want to be scant with the sesame oil. Light.
Yeah. And what else are we going to put in there? Some soy sauce?
Gotta have the soy sauce. Those are two, sesame and soy. Sesame and soy. So just to keep you up to date, in case somebody's just checking in, we're making 2 marinades at one time. We're making an Italian marinade in one bowl, and in a separate bowl, we're making an Asian marinade.
One more question. Can you explain the difference between dark balsamic and white balsamic vinegar?
Sure. So white balsamic vinegar is more clear. And regular balsamic vinegar, it looks almost like soy sauce does. It's dark. Well, they're both sweet, but the red is sweeter.
The dark balsamic vinegar is much sweeter. It's very sweet. In fact, that's what they use for a balsamic. Have you ever heard of the phrase, a reduction of balsamic syrup?
Oh, like a glaze.
Like a glaze. They use the red one for that because of sweetness. And as it cooks down, it gets more sweet and more sweet.
I'm going to add a little Worcestershire sauce to the Asian one.
Something you may not know about Worcestershire sauce, it's a natural flavor enhancer. It goes great with any protein, even fishes, if you're going to marinate or put a dressing on.
And sometimes I like to put a little bit of honey into my Asian. So the other thing too is when you make your marinades, if you don't use them all, you can store them. So you make them once and then you'll have them for a couple of weeks. But once you put something into the marinade, like once you put a protein into the marinade, you can't use it for anything else. So you would just pour it over whatever it is. But if there's any left over, you keep it and you have it.
It holds for a while, much like the roasted garlic and the roasted garlic oil. As long as you refrigerate it, you got a long shelf life on it.
Now the soy sauce is in the Asian one, so I'm not going to put any salt in that. The soy sauce is salty. I am going to put a little in the Italian, and that was about a half a teaspoon. You guys have does everybody have the recipes?
The recipe to follow along.
And Dave is chopping up, he said some
fresh herbs. Right now for the Italian marinade that we started, I'm chopping some fresh rosemary and some basil. It's very classic, very Tuscan style. And again, these marinades, without having any protein in them, without having any kind of food in them, they make great salad dressings too.
Right. I'm going to start chopping some scallions, and this is more than it's going to go into the marinade because I'm going to use some scallions in my macaroni salad.
And a macaroni. Let me tell you something. This macaroni salad is not your, macaroni salad, get that at deli. This recipe is really good. It's kind of a combination of an egg macaroni salad. Well, you'll see in a little while.
Really good. So the scallion, I'm going to use the whole entire scallion. If you have something that the greener part, you use that more for garnish. But this, I'm just gonna mix it all together. I'm gonna put some in here. And then I'm gonna save the rest of it. My husband, the chef, the trained chef, always teaches me
So clean as you go.
clean as you go.
Now, to be fair to my wife, who happens to be an 8th degree black belt in culinary arts herself, she's grandma trained, which in a lot of ways is brilliant. But anyways, she can put out a meal in a half hour for the family of 4. Boom, done on a table in a half hour, maybe 25 minutes. That same meal will take me about an hour, but I clean up as I go because I can't stand cleaning after. I just can't stand a pile of dishes. But that's me.
I'm gonna put some.
I'm going to step off camera because if you're going to follow me to the grill, we're going to rotate our corn. We're going to turn it one time.
You want me to go over there?
Sure.
Okay.
And we just want to rotate this so we get all the sides. Every 6-7 minutes, we're going to rotate it to a different side. And what's going to happen is later on, when we're ready to grill the proteins and the vegetables, we're going to move these, which will be pretty much close to being done to the top layer if you have a top layer rack.
Okay, great.
If you don't have a top layer rack, because everybody does in a barbecue, all you have to do is turn off one of the burners and move the corn to the side. It'll stay warm, it'll stay hot, but it won't burn on you.
Excellent. All right, on your way back, can you hit that button for me to
Which one, my love?
that one that says later? Beautiful. I'm back.
We're back.
All right. The next thing we're going to do is what else has to go in these? Let's see them.
Well, let's read off what we have so far so everybody can catch up or see if they're on the same page.
Right. So we have
Let's start with the Italian, see what we have in Italian.
the Italian. We have the olive oil and the balsamic vinegar. We chopped up some rosemary and some basil. We didn't have time tonight. We could put some red pepper flakes in.
We didn't have fresh thyme tonight. We had the thyme. We just didn't have the. I'm sorry, couldn't
Bum,
resist.
bum, bum. Pepper flakes, red pepper flakes.
That's what we're missing. A little bit of heat with the red pepper flake.
And also, this one even says to put a little Worcestershire in here too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're using this for a dressing, you might put a little bit of water into it to kind of cut it a little bit. And we're going to put some raw garlic in.
Well, we could use the roasted garlic. That'll sweeten it up. Maybe both.
We could do both. I put the roasted garlic back over there.
All right, so we're going to go with fresh minced garlic and a little bit of half of roasted garlic for the sweetness.
Did we find? We did find the cilantro, right? In the.
Yeah, I have it over here.
Okay. So let's see. Switch.
Sure.
I'm gonna smash this in here. This roasted garlic. All you have to do is take a piece of aluminum foil and.
We can show you right now. We're going to show you.
Let's just show you. You know, you take a piece of aluminum foil and you put your garlic.
Your peeled garlic, so you have cloves.
Right, and then you just drizzle a little bit of olive oil.
Just a little oil on it.
You could. I don't think we need it for anything else. You could do it because we're going to need more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use some of my roasted garlic oil. Can't get enough of that stuff.
And then you don't put any salt or anything else. You could put maybe a little bit of
fresh herbs.
Fresh herbs. I always like rosemary. And then you make a pouch out of it. You stick it in the oven for about half an hour.
Half hour to 40 minutes. Depends on how hot your oven is.
And how much garlic.
And how much garlic.
This was a little bit. But you just, if you have your oven on for something else, roast some garlic. Because then, once it's roasted, you could smear this, that word, smear it on some Italian bread or on focaccia.
It has so many applications.
You could put it in marinades.
Soups, salad dressings, marinades,
right.
Spread.
Mashed potatoes.
Right.
Roasted, right. So, all right, I think that this one needs, that's it for this one. I'm just going to whisk it up a little bit, and we just need some cilantro in.
Alrighty.
So we are going to marinate what in here? Chicken?
I was thinking the chicken, yes. I'm cutting up cilantro right now for the Asian marinade, and that's very, very classic. They use a lot of cilantro when cooking, in their cooking.
Right.
As well as you would find in this Tex-Mex cooking too, Southwestern. Cilantro is big.
I mean, in the old days, it's cilantro, but in the Asian markets, it would be called Chinese parsley. But now that cilantro's so big, I think it's just, I was just in H Mart and they just call it that. Cilantro. So I am going to put, all right, I'm going to put it in here.
Yeah, we can leave some plain because the daughter doesn't like too many things marinated.
Yeah,
Our daughter's very fussy.
So I'm going to marinate some of this. And I'm going to leave a couple of plain. The plain ones I'm going to season. So, you know, it's all up to your family's taste. I'm just going to get some salt. And some garlic, granule garlic. Maybe some granulated onion. And of course some pepper. And we would do the same thing to the other side, right?
Just want to check in. When we were doing our Asian marinade, we got honey in there, right? We have our sweetness.
I did put a little honey in there.
Excellent.
So David's going to take that and we're going to put it on our steak. So here you go. Do that. Beautiful. Meanwhile, I'll just season the other side of this. It's funny because our children don't like anything that has seasoning on it. It's craziness, I tell you, crazy.
And you know, the steak we chose was, actually we did a London broil today, and I cut it into strips, almost like flank steak. But we like using strip steak, sirloin steak, because it's really good off the grill. But if you can't get your hands on either one of those, because the price is very high sometimes on them, you can take a London broil, and you can cut it into slices, and then marinate those slices like I have right here. And this is the Asian marinade it's going on. Now, one of the things about marinades I want to talk about is, particularly with fish. Marinating fish as a protein is a maybe a 2-hour process. You don't want to take it past 4 hours. You definitely don't want to do it overnight, because what happens is that acid turns your fish into a dish called ceviche. And ceviche is chemically cooked seafood, and it's cooked only through the acid of what you add to it. So, long story short, you don't want to marinate any fish product more than 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours tops.
Right. And if you're going to marinate something overnight, you might put just a little less acid in it. Like if you're going to marinate your steak, especially chicken, you put a little less acid in it so that it doesn't get cooked. You know, if it's too much acid, the chicken turns a little white.
Good point, Mrs. Riley.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, very good point.
All right, so that is our marinade. That's marinating. And now we're going to move on to...
I just rotated the corn, and I'm back. So
you want to cut up the vegetables?
Yeah, let's get the vegetables. We're going to make grilled vegetables. I reserved some of that Asian marinade from the steak on a side, so it hasn't been contaminated with any protein. It's just regular marinade you saw us make. We're going to use that with the vegetables. All
right. So I have some nice asparagus and... Oh, comes the dog.
The dog's getting hungry, apparently. I guess we're not moving fast enough for her.
She ate already.
She ate already. She doesn't get this kind of food.
So when you cut your see what David is doing?
Cutting it on a bias. I don't know if you can make out the thickness. We're talking, you know, it's got to be thick enough so it stands up on a grill. It won't fall apart on you.
So I'm going to show you. If you see the little screen of me.
Yeah, it's like I call it a coin, or it's referred to as a coin.
So it's on an angle. And the angle, you get more surface space.
Correct. When you cut it on a bias, it's bigger, a bigger coin, and you can work with it a lot easier.
Right. So, oh, there's that one.
There you go.
And that small little one. This way, it's less likely to fall through.
But we have a remedy for that too on a grill when you do vegetables. There's nothing's more frustrating than watching your shrimp fall through the grid or your other vegetable items too falling through. It's very simple. You're just going to take some thick aluminum foil and make a flat surface, and then we'll be able to roast it.
I think I cut the ends off the asparagus.
Let's check.
In the kitchen, so that is yes. Those are ready to go. All right.
So we just need a container so we can marinate all this with the Asian dressing we saved.
I think we're going to use a big bowl for that, right?
I think that's a great idea. I think that's an excellent idea.
Yes, dear.
Yes, honey. Yesterday we were talking about mushrooms at one of our other classes we were doing, our virtual cooking classes. And Mrs. Riley was talking about a yeast activator, what it is. It's a fungi. And I said, yeah, I'm a fungi. You don't have to tell them that. And nobody, was just dead crickets. Like it is now, kind of, nobody's laughing.
We can't hear them.
Fungi.
You know what? There are other mushrooms in there, too. Like you said, mushrooms. Fungi.
Oh, these portobellos.
Yes. There is that.
See, now what's good about this, the way we're proceeding forward is that everything has a chance now to pick up the flavors from the marinades we made while we go into production of the macaroni sauce.
Yes.
Worked out really nice.
Macaroni.
Yeah. See that?
That goes that way?
There you go. That's all the grilled vegetables. We're going to take them and drain them later and put them on a foil on top of the grill.
Now, this marinade I could use again, maybe tonight if I was doing more than one thing. You could marinate your vegetables and then marinate something else.
Food safety-wise, Julie's correct. You could take this marinade that we're going to strain off later because we don't want to flame up the whole grill. And what you strain off, you could use it for another dish. But the rule of thumb is, for safety, anytime a protein hits a marinade, fish, meat, steak, that's it. You have to discard it. It's done.
Oh, we want to show them the hamburgers next before the macaroni salad.
I think that's a better idea.
All righty. So we use these clear bowls. This doesn't make a difference. Sometimes you have to use like a metal bowl, but this would just using clear so that you could see it.
And it's very simple, our homemade burgers. We're going to use Worcestershire, and I'm going to use a little salt and a little pepper. I mean, normally I might put a little herb in there because that's the way I like my burgers, but my daughter and son, no. So for today, we're just going to keep it Worcestershire sauce, a little black pepper, and just a little salt because Worcestershire is salty to begin with.
And, you know, you could put scallions in there or chopped onions or garlic.
I think we do have extra scallions, so we're going to definitely put scallions in.
All right, I'm going to take a burger out for her.
You separate one for her?
The lid is over there. So a little trick to make your burgers.
This right here is a Hellmann's mayonnaise top, a lid, and we're going to line it with plastic. This is going to form our burger patty.
So I'm trying to keep my meat away from the surface. So here's one that is not seasoned at all for the teenager. And I like to use the good chopped meat for my hamburgers, the 90% fat-free.
Absolutely.
Because the 80-20, they shrivel up to nothing. So,
and again, this is your preference. How much seasoning you want it, whatever flavor profile you want, you put it in. You add it the way you like it.
I'm going to use this cutting board for our hamburgers.
And just a little pepper. Gotta have a little pepper.
I want to put some scallions in there because that's what I want. You could even put like some cheese in there, some cheddar cheese. You buy those fancy ones in the.
Now, what we have here, a lot of people wouldn't realize it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But we're almost halfway to making a meatloaf. We're missing eggs, we're missing breadcrumbs, we're missing like a little Parmesan cheese, the way I like it. But this is basically the base for a meatloaf.
You can even put some of that roasted garlic in there if you have any left.
Oh, we do. Here, we do.
My cousin made a comment on one of our pages. She says, secret ingredient. That's your secret ingredient. Your
It
roasted
is.
garlic.
Listen, we're gonna package our own roasted garlic. This it has so many. It's so versatile.
And then I texted her back and I wrote, I put that exclamation on everything.
Like Frank's.
That's so sweet. Oh goodness. So I touched the meat already, so I will
Excellent
continue
choice.
to do that. You can have that.
Thank you so much.
So this guy likes smaller hamburgers. He likes them flatter.
I do like them a little thinner.
And I like mine bigger. That one. I'll make 4.
Actually, I was halfway to meatball preparation too. Think about it, except it's missing pork and some other great flavors.
Maybe we should do that.
Meatball class.
Do some Italian classes.
Well, we do have that famous gnocchi class that she does. We made a gnocchi one class, and we had a creamy pesto sauce that went with it. Oh my gosh!
I think I made a gnocchi at the Hillside Library. Oh, was there some other questions? Maybe we should stop the questions. I see there's a lot of people in the chat there.
Okay, so let's take a break and field some questions. All right, guys, we're going to field your questions. Just going to clean up a little bit as we go.
Wash my hands. And this you could, whoops, you could have this over. Did you flip this?
No.
Okay. And let's see what's going on in the chat. Olive oil. Oh, video is frozen. Is it still frozen? The temperature for the garlic, yes, is 350. Okay. And yes, we line the lid with saran wrap.
Saran wrap, correct.
Correct. Very good for shaping the burgers. Who's ever answering is doing a great job.
Thank you. Right on cue. Right on cue.
For the macaroni salad. For our smaller class, sometimes I have small intimate classes. Like if you wanted to book a class with us and invite people that you know, then we would leave the chat open and everyone would be able to socialize as we're cooking.
Is the macaroni the last thing we're finishing up with? Because at a certain point, I'm going to step off and start grilling some of the items. You can see what it looks like when it's done.
Yes. So
yes.
Do you want to show them how to put everything on the grill?
I think that's a good idea. That's a good
Put
time.
everything on the grill, and then I'll finish this. While he's going over there, I will continue to talk and just tell you that if you want to join our email list, let me pin him and spotlight him, spotlight and pin. If you would want to join our email list, you could text the word cooking, COOKING, to the number 22828. And I guess I could put that in the chat.
Okay, so even though we seasoned our grill in the beginning with the olive oil, it's been cooking off a little bit, so I like to non-stick spray everything that goes on, even the stuff that's been in the marinade. You take it out of the marinade, still spray it, on. It makes for nice, clean grill marks on your protein.
Oh, it's not going to be big. So that would put you on our email list, and we do other libraries, and sometimes other libraries need people to come because they don't have the attendance. And we do a class once a week. I guess I'll talk into this one. We do a class once a week on our own that I send out an email for. I just sent out tonight the email. We're going to be doing brunch. But you guys are going to have that one for free in a few weeks, the frittata class, which we're going to be doing next with you. We did it this week at another library. It was perfect. I think it was, I don't know if it was Judith who said that she wanted the Bellini, the mocktail.
Okay, London broiled steak next. We have the hamburgers on first, the steak next, corn still going. It should have been going for a good half hour now.
question came in. What was the spray you just used on the grill for the burgers?
He used a non-stick pan spray, like a Pam. Yeah. We just get the generic stuff.
When you want those score marks, you want to put your food not straight across. You want to put it on an angle, because then you can crisscross. You can make X score marks if you choose. So I'm putting these steak fillets, I call them, on an angle.
Nice.
I'm going to spray the topping with non-stick in a second. I just want to get them on there.
Looks good. So we did the frittata class, and we made bellinis.
I don't know if you can see this from the view, but this marinade has already started to chemically cook the steak. That's how quick it works. It changed the color, the outside content.
Just be careful when you turn around. Mm-hmm. She's right under your feet. That's cute.
I can smell the soy. I can smell the sesame already. So I'm going to spray the topping so when we go to flip them next time, they won't stick. Spray your burgers as well. I spray everything.
Your vegetables your vegetables have to go on before your chicken. The chicken cooks the fastest.
Chicken goes fast, yes.
Are you going to put that on yet, or?
Well, I have to make room for the corn.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a little spot over here to the right by moving my corn around. Corn's pretty close. Keep rotating as you go. Every 5 to 6 minutes is a rule of thumb. You turn aside, turn aside, turn aside. And just check on it by opening one of them. You should have areas that are like almost not black, but brown and tan. And that means it's roasted. And you'll smell it right away when you open it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for the vegetables, like I said before, I was going to show you a trick. It's pretty straightforward. It's very thick grade aluminum foil. It's not the thin one, it's thick. I'm going to put a sheet directly on top of the grill, and then the vegetables go on top of that.
Pick it up?
Yeah, that's perfect. How'd you get so good?
I had a good teacher. David went to Johnson & Wales, and he was the executive chef at North Shore Hospital.
I'm going to spray the foil too, believe it or not. You want to keep it nice and lubricated. And those vegetables just go right on. We'll flip them later on when they're ready.
All right. So I'm going to come back to us now, okay?
Yep.
Over here.
Go ahead.
Beautiful. Okay. So the macaroni salad. So you boiled off your macaroni, and I'm going to use a bullet for this. So my girlfriend taught me this recipe. It was funny because, you know, it's always like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So one day we decided we were going to figure out what the exact measurements were. So we did that. And I came up with a recipe. So it's 2 cups of mayonnaise. I actually am making half of a recipe. So I'm going to use a cup. And I love the bullets because the measurement is right in there. Beautiful. One more scoop. And a half a cup of oil, which you can bring out. So I'm going to make...
Go by eye. You're good at that.
No vegetable oil. So I would use a vegetable oil. And a tablespoon of celery seed. And David's good trick is you pour it in the palm of your hand. So the palm of your hand is a full palm. Is a tablespoon. And half a small onion.
Oh, we have the red onion we can use.
I'm using the red onion today. So, you know, everything, it doesn't have to be all exact stuff, you know, like
Cut that for you. Just, or you use
a slight chop is fine. And that's going in. And 1/8 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. And salt and pepper to taste. I'm only using a little bit to start because you could always add more later. We're going to taste this in a little bit. Most of the time, I always find that it needs a little bit more celery. And this has, you know, what else, honey? I'm so sorry. We need some water. Okay. And sugar. So here's the sugar. 1/8 of a cup of sugar is about 2 tablespoons. Good. Now the water, I'm going to only start out with a drop of water. Oh, okay. There we go. We had some more. Hold on. I'm only going to start out with just a tiny bit because I can always add more later. And also, if you're making the salad for like tomorrow or the next day, you would put a little bit less water in it because the moisture is just going to come out of everything else. So you don't want your salad to be all watery. Okay, I'm going to put this lid on. Turn on my Ninja. I'm also going to give it a shake because I put the mayonnaise in first. All right. And now I'm going to taste it. So the red onion made it a little pink, which is fine.
How are we tasting, Chiefy?
I like it.
Okay.
Want to taste?
Not that I don't trust you, but I just love this recipe. I want to taste it. C'est bon.
It's good?
It's very good. Yes.
All right. Here. This is the other spoon. Right. It only needed a little dab of salt. Didn't need more. I don't want to put this in the way. Let's put this to the side. And now the other things that are going to go into the salad are eggs, 4 eggs. Again, I'm doing half a recipe, so I'm going to put 2 in. And I'm going to basically rough chop it because I like those pieces of egg. Beautiful. And like anything else, when you're cooking, like today when I made the eggs, I made a whole dozen so that I'll have them in the refrigerator and then I can make a quick egg salad, or Weight Watchers just eat an egg for breakfast. Now I'm going to cut the celery. See that? I'm going to go on the big one, right? So the celery, slice down. Brown piece. Slice this. And I'm going to curl my fingers. And then the guide is this part of your knuckles. And you just let the knife rock. And you keep pulling your fingers back. And I'm holding the knife really loose. And I'm just gently holding the celery also. And using a sharp knife is one of the most important things with knife skills. You let the knife do all the work. If you have a dull knife, then you have to put more pressure on it. And guess what? If you make a mistake and you're putting all that pressure on it and you nick yourself, it's going to be a really bad cut.
Can you pin me for 1 second back on the grill? Because I just want to show them where we're at.
Sure, I can.
While Julie was working on the salad, getting the dressing ready right now, I actually put the chicken on and I started unwrapping my corn and it's perfect.
Oh, and you want to show them how to crisscross, right? Excellent. Spotlight and pin.
So what I did was, like I had said earlier, if everything's not done at one time, you can move it up to a second level or you can move it to a right with no flame. So my corn is done. I'm going to show you. That's your corn. That's your roasted corn. You want some sides, so it's still yellow. You want some sides that are blackened. It's really, really tasty. Trust me on this. That's your corn. Basically, I just unfoiled it and put it on top rack. In the meantime, I don't know if you can hear it, but in the meantime, my vegetables that I put on, they're sizzling. You can hear them sizzling and it's starting to turn brown, which is what we want. The steak, I moved to a higher area because it's already crisscrossed. It doesn't take long. I'll show you where it's marked. The fillet right there. I don't know if you can pick up on that. But right now, I'm going to crisscross my chicken. I put it down on an angle, like I said, with the steak. And now I'm going to turn it on a different angle, and it's going to make that X mark you're looking for.
And while David's doing that, I'm just getting some vegetables ready to go into the macaroni salad. I am going to use some scallions. I'm just going to reserve a few for garnish on the top. And I'm going to put some, it says diced or shredded carrots. I didn't have that today. So I'm going to put some tomato in because I like a little tomato in my macaroni salad.
Our asparagus, which probably takes the longest out of all the vegetables, depending on how much stem you cut off before you grill it, marinated grill. Asparagus. So pretty much we have everything on the grill, and we're talking about maybe another 5 to 6 minutes before it comes off. How you doing over there?
I'm doing good. I'm gonna finish up this macaroni salad. Should I pin back to myself?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's do that.
We're good over here.
There we go. So I'm just dicing some. Let me go over here. Some tomatoes. Cut them in half. I cut that little piece off. Slicing them. So I kind of just am using what I had in the refrigerator. So I had this broccoli that I didn't cook. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to add a little broccoli to my macaroni salad. Sneak some vegetables in there. Everyone is saying, oh, they want to eat healthy, but then they don't. So my vegetables go bad. Makes me crazy. All right. One's going to be like a primavera macaroni salad.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. You want to, I'll use this. Do you want to cut up some pepper?
Absolutely.
And normally I would normally blanch the broccoli before I put it into the salad, but I'm going to try to cut it really fine so it kind of just goes all in there.
Now, peppers are another one of those funny things when it comes to me. I like them roasted, like my garlic and everything. They take on a whole new sweetness. In the raw stages, maybe not so much, but in this application, it's very good.
So we have red, we have green, and I'm using an orange pepper just because if I didn't have the broccoli, I probably would have used a green pepper. So when you're cooking too, you want to cook with your eyes.
Yes, you have to feel your food, you have to see your food, and you have to taste your food. Feeling your food is like if you're doing bacon and you're making whipped cream, you just know when it's at that perfect, that peak. You can feel it in the bowl besides seeing it with your eye.
I tell you, I do miss you guys though.
Not the same as being in person, right?
I know. Dave, this group is such a great group. When I go there,
I know you always talk about it.
I do, and we live. You know, it's funny. We raised our children in Floral Park. I think that's good. And we just moved. So we just live on 6th Avenue. So I'm just on the other side of the train tracks. We are just on the other side.
Anymore?
I do not need that anymore.
Excellent.
So that was everything. I don't need this. And I do need my dressing. So I'm going to pour it over. Oh, I like the way that turned out pink.
Yeah, not too pink. But
no,
pink.
It's just a very, I like pink. Can you tell?
No, I had no idea.
I just went to 7-Eleven and bought a pink mask. But I got a little upset because it was made in China. So I'm having some friends make some masks for me. All right, let's toss that together. See that in 2 different views. I like red onions. I don't like regular onions so much, unless they're in sauce or roasted or sauteed. And there we go, gently folding. So folding is going down to the bottom and just flipping it over gently. I don't want to mix this too hard because I don't want to mush my tomatoes and my eggs. I don't want them to get all smushed up. So there it is. And guess what? Got to taste again. So I'm going to put these up quickly. Taste some. So now I am going to add a little bit more salt. And a little more pepper. Golly. Where's the pepper? Okay. And a little bit more celery. So, whoopsie. So the dressing, it tasted good. I thought it had too much, it was like borderline too much salt, but it wasn't. Because once you mix it with all the vegetables and the bland pasta,